Hello and welcome back to Read Becca for my weekly chatty catch-up on everything that I've read, everything I'm currently reading, and everything I'm looking forward to reading. It's my bookish week. This week I finished one very popular book that's been taking the bookish world by storm a bit, Yellowface by Rebecca or R.F. Kuang. It's been very divisive, mostly with people in the hype camp. It's been very, very hyped, and a lot of people have been loving it. Some people have been really critical of it. I'm definitely in the loved it camp. It wasn't my favorite thing, not of Kuang's work, in fact. I really have liked her other work better than this, but I think this was really well written, incredibly readable, hard to put down, in fact, and incredibly effective at what it was going for. So the story here, not that you need to hear it again, it really is this individual, June, who is a writer. She had a debut novel put out and it kind of flopped. It went without fanfare, basically. And so she's been a struggling author trying to get a hit. And meanwhile, her sort of college frenemy, Athena Liu, has been very successful, a bit of a wonderkind prodigy type, who is a little pretentious. And they have maintained a relationship. It's not close, but one night they're out drinking together, come back to Athena's apartment. They start eating and Athena chokes and dies. And so it's a whole event in June's life. And as part of that event in her life, Athena had a very mysterious process for her books, which involved keeping everything very secretive and on a typewriter until she had finished her work. In the confusion of this moment of Athena's death, June steals Athena's latest book that she has yet to reveal to the world. A work that is specifically about deeply hidden Chinese history that hasn't really been covered elsewhere before. And June, as a result, does kind of make a name for herself. She gets very swept up in the process of marketing herself in a certain way to be telling this specifically Chinese history story. And I think that we can tell that June, as a white woman, is going along with or making choices that market her in a way different than she is. So over the course of this, she very much has convinced herself that she's really in the right. She did all this work on this book beyond what Athena did. So it's really her work. This isn't really disingenuous for her to put out a certain message or facade of who she is. Everyone else is just taking it wrong. So she never takes personal responsibility for anything as we go along. And interestingly, she's totally unlikable, and yet you want to read her story so badly. And I think that's one of the aspects of this that is done so well. So all of this is telling the story of that, of the process of how she makes incremental steps along the way to becoming very disingenuous. And I think what I've seen people really critique about this is how heavy-handed it is. And I would agree. This is very much a parody of the publishing world. It's over the top, certainly. And no one is likable in this book. If you need likable characters, this is not almost certainly going to work for you. But I think this book wouldn't work if it weren't heavy-handed. If you went with the subtlety that people are saying, oh yeah, this book should have been written with more subtlety, there's no possible way you could write a book where you are exploring the fact that every person in this story, I think there's one person on page, for like a page, who is not doing anything wrong. Everyone, every single person who appears, other than this one, has done something wrong. Everyone from the author to the publishers to people doing marketing, assistants, the readers, the booksellers, everyone is involved in some way in doing wrong. And to do that, to have a whole cast of unlikable characters and secondary characters and side characters, you can't do that with subtlety. I think this was, as I said, really thoughtful in how it did that. It's unputdownable and a page turner. I had so much secondhand embarrassment, which is really difficult for me to read through because June is so unlikable. She's so unaware of the choices that she's making being cringeworthy, and yet you're sitting there cringing and she's not. She's so self-confident about it. Yet she doesn't seem arrogant. She just seems like she thinks she is due all of this success. I thought this did a great job of being the book that it wanted to be, really. I heartily recommend it if you think that sounds like your sort of thing. If you can't stand unlikable characters, if you can't stand secondhand embarrassment, this may not work for you because you are watching a train wreck. If you are that looky-loo who wants to watch a train wreck, this will be a great read. So that was the one book that I finished. I have lots ongoing. In fact, I've made no progress on my 2 long-term project books. The thing I've mostly been working on is Genesis of Misery by Nyan Yang, that I have to get back to the library this week. So I will easily finish it this week before it's due. We don't have late fees or anything, so I'm not overly worried, but I didn't want to try to rush to get it finished just to get it into the video or anything, because I have about 115 pages left. So easily we'll finish it, probably tomorrow. And I'm also making decent progress on His Name is George Floyd for the BookTube prize. Yellowface had been kind of a random grab because I was on Libby trying to line up a new audiobook and saw it on the front page and was just clicking to put a hold on it, and it was available immediately as a skip the line copy. So I just jumped right into that one and had been waiting for some very long-term holds to catch up my bestsellers project, because I'm trying to read about a bestseller a month, and I had gotten behind because of the BookTube prize. So my long-term holds also came in this past week. So I now have I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy and Page Boy by Elliot Page. Both of those seem to be fairly short memoirs, and on audio I think they'll be fairly quick listens. So I have already started I'm Glad My Mom Died, in fact. So that will be the next one up. And in fact, now I think I only have one more long-term hold that's pending. So I'm going to need to line up some more long-term audio holds for like bestsellers and stuff that's hot that I want to get in. So I think that is it for my reading stuff. Watching stuff, I had a couple of good finishes in watching. Number one was a total binge. And I'm sure, like everyone in the entire world, I binged season 2 of Heartstopper. I have not read the graphic novels or comics, and I really want to. I should, but they're always on long hold lists at the library, so I just haven't bothered to put in for them. I love the show, though. It is so heartwarming and sweet, but also explores more serious topics, definitely, and this season it really got into some much more serious topics, or a wider variety of serious topics. So I hated that it ended as soon as it did. I wanted like twice as many episodes, but it was really fantastically done. As always, it's such a cozy series despite these hard things that are happening. So that was wonderful. And then also I finished Love Island UK season 2. If you were not around last year, I got into Love is Blind on Netflix. And that kind of, I finished or caught up on that right around the time when the new season of Love Island was starting. So I was hearing people like Lauren in the Books and Simon Savage mention Love Island all the time. And so I started what was the current running season at that time, finished that, and went back to season 1 of the UK series. And so this year I've watched season 1 and now completed season 2. It's a terrible show. It's not great, but it's perfect for shutting off my brain for half hour to an hour, and I don't mind just stopping in the middle of an episode right before bed, and just kind of winding down with it, because it's dumb and brainless. And it's so ridiculous. The people are absurd. This particular season, though, I think I got more invested. There were a lot more like long-term couples, I guess, in season 2, and so I got invested in them, but also knowing that one of the individuals that was on, that probably the person I liked the most as an individual and kind of the growth of their couple, ended up being someone that was a catalyst for later conversations, I think just within the past couple of years, about the mental health impacts of these shows, because of some really negative outcomes. And seeing that was hard because I was so attached to this person, and they seemed so even keeled at the time they were on the show, and to know kind of the fallout of things that happened is very hard. So now, like, watching through that lens from the past, you can't enjoy it as entirely just brainless, like, candy watching. But it's still a really entertaining show. So I think now I'm in the position of, do I jump to the current running season, because a new season has just recently started, or do I continue sequentially and start up season 3? I don't want to jump to the other series in US or UK series, or not US or Australian series. So yeah, the never-ending Love Islands are out there as options. So I think that's it. I've got a number of ongoing series that are actively running that I am now watching. I kind of hate that. I prefer to have completed series that I can like binge a little more quickly. But What We Do in the Shadows just started its new series, so I'm watching that as it comes out. Wonderful. I adore that show. And I think that's it for watching stuff and life stuff. It wasn't too exciting of a week. It was a really busy work week. I feel like that is what I say every week anymore. This one was multiple just lost days. They were just gone. But last weekend, after I did my video, our botanical garden announced that our corpse flower here was blooming, and they only bloom for about 24 hours. So that was in the evening as I was editing, in fact. And so I went in the middle of the night to go see the corpse flower. And I thought I was going to show up and it was going to be, 15, 30 minutes maybe, wait in line, see it, get a picture, whatever, walk away. I show up and there's a lot of cars. And I was thinking initially, okay, well, there is an event that's going on in the evenings right now, like a special ongoing event. And I was like, maybe it's just people that haven't left from that yet, because it was still close enough that people could be lingering around, whatever. But like, get inside, and there is a line. There were like 1,000 people. So it was a 2-hour wait to see the corpse flower, which I'll try and put a picture up here, to see it for like 2 minutes. So I was there and didn't get home until 2 a.m. And I had started watching Heartstopper leading up to that, and then I got home at 2 a.m. and stayed up even longer and continued watching some more Heartstopper until I was like, okay, I'm gonna pass out for a few hours. So I passed out and slept in a bit into Sunday. But it was interesting. It was kind of a nice communal event to get together with a couple people and be in this line with lots of other people as you're waiting for this long period of time. And so that was cool. And seeing it in person, I think, is like a one-time experience that I'm glad I had, because you see the pictures and it's this massive thing. You can tell it's huge, but until you get there and you're actually next to the thing, you don't understand the scale. Like, this thing is bigger than a person. It is huge. So that actually being in proximity to this giant flower and seeing how cool it is in person, the pictures don't totally do it justice. So that it was a whole cool experience to go to the botanical garden in the middle of the night to see this thing for, a one-time event. Not that day, but later in the week, I also got eaten alive by mosquitoes because I went to the park and forgot my citronella wristband or spray and was not going to go home to get it. So I just plowed through and got eaten alive a bit. I'm already one of those people that's very attractive to mosquitoes and very negatively reactive to their bites. So I think I'm probably going to take an antihistamine and take a nap today because my D&D group was canceled again. And so nap sounds very good because I haven't been sleeping well since I've been very itchy. I thankfully this is not smell-o-vision because I ran around today and have been doing deep clean. Very much needed it. I still need to dust really badly. I dusted my shelves like 3 weeks ago maybe, most of them, but I have quite a few spots that need redusting, or I have a couple of spots that I didn't dust and are looking pretty bad. So I need to get on that today. And I also replaced my modem, so that was a little unusual effort. It was not hard, but having to get everything out and reposition for the new modem. And it does seem to be faster, so it was an upgrade from my internet provider, so that's good. I'm getting a higher rate on my YouTube videos that I'm watching by default, which is very nice. I can actually like make out tiny things, really good quality. So that's a whole new experience. I usually watch on like the lowest available quality. So I think that is it for my week this week. I don't know. Tomorrow I'm going to try to do mid-month book bash and read a tiny book. I've been doing a tiny book in a day as my way of participating. And I have my one more long-term library checkout to get cleared away that I have mentioned a couple times, and that one is a short one, so I could use that one. I also have a couple of options that are from my own shelves that I've been eyeing because I did really want this project to be leaning toward my own short books, to getting to those, but I do really want to get this one off my shelf and back to the library. So I don't know, I think I'm probably leaning toward that library book. That is it for me today. Hopefully you are having a wonderful week and great reading. Thank you so much for watching.